I never reviewed a collection of short stories before, so I'll try and do my best here. Today I'm reviewing a collection of short stories by Harlan Ellison called the Harlan Ellison Collection of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Now, the main story, yes, is the first one here, his most popular one, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, and that story itself is very original. This is my first foray into this author's work. That story was really well done. Very, very different from anything I've read of science fiction of that time period, and it was mind-blowing, and there's barely any other way to describe it. The ending was just, wow. At first it flew over my head what the meaning of the ending was, but when you actually do think about the ending, you find, yes, at first it seems depressing, but actually it's very hopeful. There's actually some goodness to the ending, even no matter how dark and depressing you think it is at first glance. The other short stories in here are very good as well, and imaginative, and also kind of almost Twilight Zone-ish at times, but also they all have, one thing I liked about all of them was that they have a language. They have a poetry to them. They're not in the way that they're all in rhythmic. It's just the way that Harlan writes have this nice flow to them, and it just reminds me of the old science fiction language of writers at that time period from the 50s and 60s and 70s. They all have this kind of like nice language to them that flow just very nicely, and it's not like modern science fiction to where everybody just kind of like is trying to seem very, like they know what they're talking about, or they just have a lot of scientific fact to them, or something like that. But those ones, they just wrote, and it seemed like they had an understanding of what they were talking about because of not only their knowledge of their craft, but also because of just how imaginative their work was and is. So that's why the language was great for the old science fiction stories, including these ones. But each one is really good. Each one also has a different flavor and different tone, and but all of them completely will blow your mind. They're all great and fabulous. There's not much else I can really say other than having to delve deep into each individual one, but I don't really have time for that, and I can't really. Sometimes it's hard to describe how good a story is. Sometimes you have to experience for yourself, because sometimes there's reader's own interpretation, because a reader will I have an interpretation, but another reader might have a different interpretation of what it meant to them and what it felt like. And that's what it kind of felt like with these short stories. It didn't feel like it was just pandering to one vision. Even if the author had one vision, it kind of feels like that there's many different ways to interpret each scene in each book, and each story. So, but yeah, other than that, this whole thing is amazing. I was blown away. I didn't know what to expect from Harlan Ellison. I just stumbled upon this book because I was looking at a video by WatchMojo.com. They're doing their top 10 scariest video games of all time, and one of them was the adventure game adaptation of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, and I researched that game and found out it was based on a short story, this short story, found the book, and decided to read it. And yes, the book is very interesting, and I played part of the game. I haven't completed it yet, but I played part of it. The game is pretty good. Yes, so if you ever want to do a different, want to change in your science fiction reading and any reading in general, try picking up Harlan Ellison. He's quite intimidating. I will give him that. Very intimidating writer, and very good as well. Alright, thank you all for watching, and have a nice day. Oh, I forgot to rate this. I should rate this, shouldn't I? Sorry, I'm doing this off the cuff. I didn't script this one out. Because like I said, I didn't know really how to properly do a collection of short stories, so I'm just making this up as I go. But I guess I should give this a solid 5 stars out of 5. It is very different, like I said, and Harlan is very much a different writer. I can tell you that. He's not Philip K. Dick, he's not Isaac Asimov, he's not Ray Bradbury. He very much has his own language. He speaks a certain way, writes a certain way, and he gets his message across sometimes. And he he takes you places. He'll take you places that you didn't think he would take you. And they're all good. So, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.